Number 10.
The 27 Club is an informal list consisting mostly of popular musicians, artists, actors, and other celebrities who died at age 27. Although the claim of a statistical spike for the death of musicians at that age has been refuted by scientific research, it remains a cultural phenomenon, with many celebrities who die at 27 noted for their high-risk lifestyles. Starting with the passings of a few 27-year-old famous performers somewhere in the range of 1969 and 1971, kicking the bucket at 27 years old became, and stays, a perpetual subject of mainstream society, big-name newscasting, and media outlet legend. This social peculiarity, which came to be known as the 27 Club, credits extraordinary importance to famous performers, specialists, entertainers, and different big names who kicked the bucket at age 27, frequently because of medication and liquor misuse or vicious means like crime, self-destruction, or transportation-related mishaps. A few displays have been committed to the thought, as well as books, movies, and stage plays. The social peculiarity likewise led to a metropolitan fantasy that superstar passings are more normal at 27, a case that has been disproved by measurable exploration. Brian Jones, Jimi Hendrix, Janis Joplin, and Jim Morrison all kicked the bucket at 27 years old somewhere in the range of 1969 and 1971. Blues artist Robert Johnson, who kicked the bucket in 1938, is one of the earliest well-known performers to be remembered for arrangements of 27 Club individuals. As indicated by Hendrix and Kurt Cobain's biographer Charles R. Cross, the developing significance of the media, web, magazines, and TV, and the reaction to a meeting of Cobain's mom were mutually liable for such hypotheses. A portion from an explanation that Cobain's mom, Wendy Freidenberg Cobain O'Connor, made in the Aberdeen, Washington, paper The Everyday World. Presently he's proceeded to join that dumb club. I told him not to join that moronic club. Alluded to Hendrix, Joplin, and Morrison kicking the bucket at a similar age, as per Cross. Different creators share his view. Then again, Eric Siegelstad, essayist of the 27s, the best legend of rock and roll, expected that Cobain's mom alluded to the passing of his two uncles and his extraordinary uncle, every one of whom had likewise ended it all as per Cross. The occasions have driven a set of trick scholars to suggest the ludicrous thought that Kurt Cobain deliberately coordinated his demise so he could join the 27 Club. In 2011, 17 years after Cobain's passing, Amy Winehouse kicked the bucket at 27 years old, provoking a recharged swell of media consideration gave to the club once again. 3 years sooner, she had communicated an apprehension about biting the dust at that age. An individual doesn't be guaranteed to must be a performer to qualify as a part of the 27 Club. Drifter included TV entertainer Jonathan Brandis, who ended it all in 2003, in a rundown of 27 Club individuals. Anton Yelchin, who had played in an underground rock band however was fundamentally known as a film entertainer, was likewise depicted as an individual from the club upon his passing in 2016. In like manner, Jean-Michel Basquiat has been remembered for 27 Club records, regardless of the general quickness of his music vocation and his conspicuousness as a painter. As per music biographer Charles R. Cross, the quantity of performers who died at 27 is genuinely striking by any norm. However people kick the bucket consistently at all ages, there is a factual spike for performers who bite the dust at 27. Regardless of the social importance given to performer and superstar passings at age 27, the case that they are genuinely more normal at this age is a metropolitan legend, discredited by logical examination. A concentrate by College Scholastics distributed in the English Clinical Diary in December 2011 reasoned that there was no expansion in the gamble of death for performers at 27 years old, expressing that there were similarly little increments at ages 25 and 32. The review noticed that youthful grown-up performers have a higher passing rate than the overall youthful grown-up populace, gathering that distinction might build the gamble of death among performers. However, this chance isn't restricted to mature 27. The choice measures for the performers remembered for the review, in view of having scored a UK #1 collection somewhere in the range of 1956 and 2007, prohibited a few eminent individuals from the 27 Club, including Hendrix, Joplin, Morrison, Pete Ham, and Ron "Pigpen" McKernan. A 2014 article at the discussion recommended that measurable proof shows famous performers are probably going to bite the dust at 56 years old, 2.2% contrasted with 1.3% at 27. As indicated by music biographer Charles R. Cross, the quantity of artists who died at 27 is really striking by any norm. However, people pass on consistently at all ages. There is a factual spike for performers who bite the dust at 27. Notwithstanding the social importance given to artist and superstar passings at age 27, the case that they are genuinely more normal at this age is a metropolitan legend, discredited by logical examination. A concentrate by College Scholastics distributed in the English Clinical Diary in December 2011 presumed that there was no expansion in the gamble of death for performers at 27 years old, expressing that there were similarly little increments at ages 25 and 32. The review noticed that youthful grown-up performers have a higher passing rate than the overall youthful grown-up populace, inducing that distinction might expand the gamble of death among artists, yet this chance isn't restricted to mature 27. The determination rules for the performers remembered for the review, in light of having scored a UK #1 collection somewhere in the range of 1956 and 2007, prohibited a few striking individuals from the 27 Club, including Hendrix, Joplin, Morrison, Pete Ham, and Ron "Pigpen" McKernan. A 2014 article at the discussion proposed that factual proof shows famous performers are probably going to bite the dust at 56 years old, 2.2% contrasted with 1.3% at 27.
Number 9.
The 2016 clown sightings were an instance of widespread panic fueled by reports of individuals masked as malicious comedians in mixed-up settings, like close to backwoods and schools. The episodes were accounted for in the US, Canada, Australia, and consequently in different nations and regions beginning in August 2016. The sightings were first revealed in Green Narrows, Wisconsin, in what ended up being a promotional stunt for a blood and gore movie. The peculiarity later spread to numerous different urban areas in the US. By mid-October 2016, comedian sightings and assaults had been accounted for in practically all U.S. states, 9 out of 13 regions and domains of Canada, and 18 different nations. Preceding the spate of episodes in 2016, various sightings of individuals dressed as comedians in odd or mixed-up settings have happened all through the world, beginning around 2013. The multiplicity of recordings and pictures of these antecedent sightings spread through virtual entertainment posts and viral sharing of the substance. One potential forerunner occasion was the 2013 sightings of a frightening comedian in Northampton, Britain. The Northampton comedian sightings, which were in the town during September and October 2013, were crafted by 3 nearby producers Alex Powell, Elliot Simpson, and Luke Ubansky. The comedian had comparative shifts focus over to Pennywise the moving jokester from Stephen Lord's Book It. The triplet began a Facebook page for the purported Northampton comedian, and was utilizing the appearances to direct people to the page. In Walk 2014, Matteo Moroni from Perugia, proprietor of the YouTube channel DM Tricks, started taking on the appearance of a malevolent comedian and unnerving clueless bystanders, with his recordings piling up countless perspectives. A rash of sightings showed up in California, USA in October 2014, which focused upon the Wasco comedian, and basically happened in the Wasco, California, region with photographs showing up via virtual entertainment. The 2014 narrative Executioner Legends highlighted a section called, "Why Are Jokesters Frightening?" The movie producers headed out to Chicago to investigate the past jokester overreacts that cleared the city in 1991 and again in 2008, connecting them to chronic executioner John Wayne Gacy, and the more peculiar Peril alarm. It was close to this time in 2014 that a portion of the primary jokester locating showed up in the U.S., remembering early sightings for Staten Island, New York. An individual in comedian clothing was seen in a graveyard in Chicago in July 2015. This event included 2 inhabitants who recognized the unpleasant comedian scaling the door at the Rosehill graveyard late around evening time. After the comedian entered the burial ground, they went to confront the occupants and started waving gradually as they made a video recording. Subsequent to waving for a couple of moments, the jokester ran into a dim lush region and was not seen once more. Police examination of the locating prompted no captures. Toward the beginning of August 2016, the jokester peculiarity started in Green Strait, Wisconsin, and as per the New York Times, reports started to surface of comedian sightings in Greenville area, South Carolina, in late August. In the Greenville area, it was supposed that comedians were endeavoring to draw kids into the forest with cash or by dilly-dallying around. Likewise, a comedian was located in Winston-Salem, North Carolina, offering treats to youngsters. The jokester escaped when police showed up. 5 photos of an unpleasant comedian meandering an empty parking garage under an extension in Midtown Green Strait around evening time began becoming a web sensation on August 1, 2016. A Facebook page was made soon after. It was named, "Gags to Guarantee That the Jokester." In the days that followed, the photos were talked about on various media sources including Fox News and USA Today. Doubts of the person being connected with a thriller were affirmed when a Wisconsin producer reported the photos were a promoting stunt for a then-unreleased short film named Gags. A component film was delivered in view of the short film and debuted in 2018, with the film having a restricted performance center run and delivered on VOD stages in September 2019. After the Wisconsin episode, various different occurrences fired springing up across the U.S. toward the finish of August 2016. Toward the beginning of October 2016, further episodes were accounted for in Canada and the primary events in the Unified Realm and Australia. English people group were depicted as shocked and pressure had been put on police assets. As per the New York Times, the jokester sightings brought about somewhere around 12 captures across the U.S. and 1 passing. In Perusing, Pennsylvania, a 16-year-old kid was lethally cut during an occurrence that might have been incited by a prowler wearing a comedian veil. The charges connected with the sightings included making bogus reports, dangers, and pursuing individuals. Over the course of this time, web virtual entertainment locales got various postings connected with the peculiarity. The World Comedian Affiliation president Randy Christensen took a position against the latest thing of individuals taking on the appearance of jokesters to terrify individuals. Bazaars and other jokester-related organizations were impacted. In October 2016, McDonald's concluded that Ronald McDonald would keep a lower profile because of the episodes. A humanist has called 2016 a terrible opportunity to be an expert jokester. The executioner comedian frenzy was connected to a critical expansion in deals of jokester suits in and close to Glasgow, Scotland. During Halloween, a few Floridians chose to go furnished while going house to house asking for candy.
Number 8.
In 1962, it was extremely normal for partygoers to make their own Halloween veils from mortar, burlap texture, and paint. Assuming you were truly broke, you inquired as to whether he had any chicken wire left in his shed, and you utilized papier-mâché. In 1962, a genuinely modest community was going to witness its most exceedingly terrible occasion in its set of experiences 20 years before it and well more than 20 years after it worked out. We're talking perhaps 30 children in the graduating class, sort of. The high schoolers who chose to get together at Marla's home that year all realized that Marla's father was a consumer and that it'd not be difficult to pull up some modest lager from her cooler. Particularly as she tried to murmur by the storage spaces to anybody she'd welcome that her father would be away for Halloween this year and that it'd be genuine great assuming you come by. She would recite that expression to anyone in the lobby. On Halloween night, a lot of children from secondary school made their veils and went out to Marla's for the night. They did standard youngster rambunctiousness, hauling the street in Kenny's mom's upset, or tossing water explosives at neighborhood letter boxes. In those days it was Ellington's water projectiles, these days everybody simply calls them water inflatables. The trick-or-treaters quit thumping at the entryway around 9:30. By then, more than one jug had been exposed. Tommy had another Polaroid that had a blaze and everything, and he requested that everybody assemble to get a photograph. Everybody heaped in from the floor as far as possible, wearing their covers. In any case, there was one individual. One individual in a dark hooded veil was suggestive of a killer in the group. Nobody would acknowledge how critical that picture of that one individual would be until the following day. The night was getting later, and this is where many records get truly fluffy. Somebody portrayed how they saw a dowel bar set onto the top portion of the window, outwardly positioned discreetly. They thought it was bizarre but had forgotten about it. A few say Marla and Tommy were in a room a few doors down and were first found by Karen, their throats cut profoundly and spouting out blood in little sprays down their front. Karen was going to shout, yet she felt the blade come in her back, and out of nowhere, she lost all her breath from it penetrating her right lung. We just know this from where they viewed her and how she was depicted during the post-mortem examination. Yet, by then, somebody in the receiving area had seen Karen when she dropped down. Shouts were emitted, and the whole house broke out into a frenzy. Scrambling for the front entryway, they thought that it was stuck. A huge patio seat had been set under the handle, and it wouldn't move. The windows were impeded by the wooden dowel bars. The man in the dark, hooded veil swung the blade around skillfully. Somebody said he was extremely cautious regarding how he held it, as it was smooth with blood. As though he'd followed through with something like that multiple times. To be perfectly honest, when you live in a modest community like our own and experience childhood on a ranch, it is entirely expected to realize how much strain to apply to a pig's throat. Or, on the other hand, the point expected to snap a chicken's neck in any case, this man was something different. They say he had no reluctance when he destroyed Marla or when he had the option to polish off 3 different casualties before he withdrew through the one window he'd left open. Police found Tommy's photographs, and 2 or 3 days after that, the actual cover was found out and about going away from town toward the mountainside. However, right up to the present day, nobody knows what that cover's identity was.
Number 7.
The midnight game is an old pagan ritual, used mainly as punishment for those who had broken the laws of the pagan religion in question. While it was mainly used as a scare tactic to not disobey the gods, there is still a very existent chance of death to those who play the midnight game. There is an even higher chance of permanent mental scarring. It is highly recommended that you do not play the midnight game. However, for those few thrill seekers searching for a rush, or for those delving into obscure occult rituals, these are simple instructions on how to play. Do so at your own risk. Instructions. Prerequisites. It must be exactly 12 a.m. when you begin performing the ritual. Otherwise, it will not work. Materials. You will need a candle, a piece of paper, a writing implement, matches or a lighter, salt, a wooden door, and at least 1 drop of your own blood. If you are playing with multiple people, they will need their own set of the aforementioned materials, and they will have to perform the steps below accordingly. Step 1. Write your full name, first, middle, and last, on the piece of paper. Put at least 1 drop of blood on the paper. Allow it to soak into the paper. Step 2. Turn off all of the lights in the place you are doing this. Go to your wooden door, and place the paper with your name on it in front of the door. Now, take out the candle and light it. Place it on top of the paper. Step 3. Knock on the door 22 times. The hour must be 12 a.m. upon the final knock. Then, open the door, blow out the candle, and close the door. You have just allowed the midnight man to enter your house. Step 4. Immediately relight your candle. This is where the game begins. You must now lurk around your now completely dark house, with the lit candle in your hand. Your goal is to avoid the midnight man at all costs, until 3:33 a.m. Should your candle ever go out, that means the midnight man is near you. You must relight your candle in the next 10 seconds. If you are not successful in doing this, you must then immediately surround yourself with a circle of salt. If you are unsuccessful in both of your actions, the midnight man will create a hallucination of your greatest fear, and rip out your organs one by one. You will feel it, but you will be unable to react. If you are successful in creating the circle of salt, you must remain in there until 3:33 a.m. If you are successful in relighting your candle, you may proceed with the game. You must continue to 3:33 a.m. without being attacked by the midnight man, or being trapped inside the circle of salt, to win the midnight game. The Midnight Man will leave your house at 3:33 a.m., and you will be safe to proceed with your morning. Addition. Indications that you are near the Midnight Man will include sudden drop in temperature, seeing a pure black, humanoid figure through the darkness, and hearing very soft whispering coming from an indiscernible source. If you experience any of these, it is advised that you leave the area to avoid the Midnight Man. Do not turn any of the lights on during the midnight game. Do not use a flashlight during the midnight game. Do not go to sleep during the midnight game. Do not attempt to use another person's blood on your name. Do not use a lighter as a substitute for a candle. It will not work. And definitely do not attempt to provoke the Midnight Man in any way. Even when the game is over, he will always be watching you. Good luck, you are going to need it.
Number 6.
Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome back to our channel. Today, we're going to talk about one of the most mysterious and fascinating creatures in the world, Bigfoot. Also known as Sasquatch, this legendary creature has been the subject of countless sightings, stories, and debates for decades. So, let's dive into the mystery and see what we can find out about Bigfoot. First, let's talk about the origins of the Bigfoot legend. Dedicate their lives to searching for Bigfoot and gathering evidence to prove its existence. There have been numerous documentaries, TV shows, and movies about Bigfoot, which have only added to the legend and mystery surrounding this creature. So, what could Bigfoot be? Some theories suggest that it's a surviving species of prehistoric ape, while others believe it's a humanoid creature that evolved separately from humans. Some even think that Bigfoot could be an extraterrestrial being or a supernatural entity. However, without any concrete evidence, it's impossible to say for sure what Bigfoot really is. The legend of Bigfoot is one of the most enduring and fascinating mysteries in the world. Whether you believe in it or not, there's no denying that Bigfoot has captured the imagination of people all over the world. So, what do you think? Is Bigfoot real, or is it just a myth? Let us know in the comments below. And don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel for more videos like this. Thanks for watching, guys. We hope you enjoyed this video about Bigfoot. If you did, give it a thumbs up and share it with your friends. And as always, stay curious and keep exploring.
Number 5.
At the bottom of Lake Lanier lies, almost, fully intact towns, ferries, a racetrack, and multiple cemeteries. The Georgia government, in its determination to create Lake Lanier, bought up entire towns in order to clear the space for the lake after they received congressional approval in 1946. However, they just decided to let the water cover up the towns, rather than demolishing them. Now, Lake Lanier has a decidedly eerie feel about it. There have been an unusual number of freak accidents and deaths on the lake. In 2011, there were 17 deaths alone. Many of the people who drowned have been recovered. People have reported feeling arms and legs in the water, but have not been able to find them right after, leading people to believe that spirits still roam the lake.
Number 4.
The women's bathroom. Once you are seated in the stall, you will hear a male voice ask if you want red or blue paper. Choose your words carefully. If you say red paper, you will meet a bloody end, and if you say blue paper, you will be suffocated too. We begin our first story in the bathroom, a seemingly popular place for Japanese urban legends. Aka Manto is a male spirit who dons a red cloak and mask and is said to haunt school and public restrooms with a particular fondness for the last stall in. Death until you are blue. If you try to confuse the spirit by asking for a different color paper, you will be dragged into hell. To avoid a brutal end at aka Manto's hand, simply refuse his offer and run.
Number 3.
Anyone who is familiar with Japanese urban legends knows of the infamous, yet popular, Kukisekana. This vengeful ghost appears as a seemingly beautiful woman who roams the streets at night. She wears a face mask and carries a concealed pair of scissors. If you are unlucky enough to meet Kukisekana during a solitary stroll, she will ask you if you think she is beautiful. As with Aka Manto, consider your answer like your life depends on it, since it does. If you say no, she will immediately murder you with her scissors. If you say yes, she will remove her face covering to reveal a gaping mouth that has been slit from ear to ear in a haunting smile. Then, she will ask again, say no. And you die, but stick with yes, and she will slit your mouth like hers. The only way to escape Kukisekana is to tell her that she looks average.
Number 2.
La Mala Hora, which translates to the evil hour, is an entity that you don't want to run into on a dark road. Legend says that at first, it appears as a ball of black energy, constantly moving and changing its size and shape. If you look at it, it will drive you insane and will slowly kill you. At other times, it appears as a scary-looking woman. It's said that if you see her at a crossroads, you or someone in your family will die.
Number 1.
The story of the Jersey Devil has been around since the 1700s. The legend states that a woman named Mother Leeds became pregnant with her 13th child, and said, "Let this one be the devil." Once the child was born, it grew hooves, wings, horns, and a tail. Now, the monster has been spotted periodically throughout history in the Pine Barrens region of New Jersey. The state has embraced the legend so much that they named their hockey team after it.